Welcome again to Family Dynamics with Bola. I'm going to be talking about how to show love to each of your child in a way that they will feel loved, you know, that they will feel seen by you, even though they have different love languages. And what sparked this conversation was I and one of my friends we were talking and we're like, do kids change their love language over time? Is it possible that a child's love language as a toddler is different from when they're like 5 and it's different from when they're like 6 or, preteen and all that? And so that got me into doing some research. And it's funny because even my own child started with this, right? I remember when my first daughter was born and just holding her in my arms and all that. And as we go through the years, right, I saw her moved from being someone who her love language is just cuddling, just really sitting there and spending time with you to something else. And that's when I realized that love or love language in its sense is not one size fits all, right? So today I'd love to ask you this pertinent question. How does your child, each of them, how do they receive love at this moment? And that's what we're going to walk through together today. So, as toddlers, the last episode I had Mr. T with me, and he was talking about his toddlers, how they're very different, and all that, right? As toddlers, their major love language is touch, it is time, and it is tenderness, right? It's very easy, and it's common for you to feel exhausted from trying to tell them the same thing 10,000 times. Leave that, do this, do that, right? But when we find a love language, and oftentimes it's not in words because they don't even, most times they're not able to speak at that time, right? They feel loved by you being physically there with them, touching them, hugging them, you know, and having predictable routines is a love language that you're communicating to your child. When you have eye contact with them, they smile, you know, and then you affirm them. They probably can speak back, but they are cooing back to you. That is you showing them that you love them. That's the love language that they understand, right? And, maybe when they're crying and you're like, Mommy's here, or, you're safe, that's the language that they understand. But as they move along from when they're like 5, and research has shown, right, by the time a child is 5, the value system is already formed. So this stage, right, it's all about see me, dad, see me, mom, celebrate me, I'm here. They crave recognition. That's the love language you want to give to them. And like I said, not every child will fall into this category. There would be outliers, but most children between 5 and 6 and 7, they want recognition. They want you to reinforce them positively. They wanna hear you say, "Oh, you've done a good job." They want to hear you say, "Okay, that's good. Good job." So they're constantly craving it. Mommy, I just did it. Daddy, I just did that. I came first. I did this. So at that stage, right, quality time and words of affirmation become really, really important. And if this is not your natural tendency, you might have to just borrow it for that time because that's the time that you affirm them of who they are. And like I said, their value system is now being formed. They know who they are at that time. So, what we might want to do as parents is sometimes let them lead playtimes and share their own ideas. It might not make sense. They can tell you to dress up and they are doing tea party, and daddy is just like, I'm so tired. let them lead it, right? And then affirm their effort. They're trying to tie their shoes, especially if you have independent kids. They're trying to do things by themselves. And sometimes they get really frustrated, like, wow, I'm so proud of you that you actually started doing that by yourself, right? And then you can say, I notice that you did this. They love it because they're craving your attention. You actually did notice that, dad? You actually notice that, mom? Yes. At that age, that's the love language that they understand. For preteens, oh my goodness, really interesting stage, right? About 9 to 12 or thereabout, yes. Their love language at that time is include me, respect me. You know, it's at that stage that they don't want your hugs anymore because they're not in middle school. Like, it's not so cool. Yeah, right. But if they don't want hugs, they're not going to throw away your notes that they just have to pick up from my lunchbox that says, I love you, you know, I love you. But sometimes when you say that to them, they might just be like, oh, goodness, I don't want that. I don't want other people to see me. So they want to be heard, they want to be included, and they want to be respected. So at this stage, a practical way that you can show them love, right, is have one-on-one time with them. Make your car rides not time of eye pressure, like they just have to get down from the car not happy. Use it as conversation, listen to them, right? They want to be heard. They feel like they now, they're beginning to know all the things in the world, and you want to respect their independence. Sometimes they don't want to talk, sometimes they just want to keep quiet. Just be available to them. That's a love language that they would understand. And subtle affirmations. They don't want that big affirmation and all that, but subtle affirmation would work at that time. And by the time they're teens, as you can see, the love language is changing over time. By the time they are teen, they just want you to trust them, right? Trust them that they know what they're doing. Sometimes they don't, but it's okay for them to learn. If it's not a fatal action, let them learn and they will come back. The way things usually we feel love is when they are trusted, when they are listened to, and they are not constantly corrected. And of course, do we want to constantly correct them because you don't like what they're putting on, you feel they're not doing this? But it's repelling them. Correct them, right? But not constantly. They want to connect with you, but on their own terms. So you want to be able to find their term. This time, when they are teens, one has to be super patient with them. You have to be super patient because sometimes they will get on your nerves, but let it come on their own terms. Listen to them more than you speak, and respect their boundary. Be there, be open, and all that. What if you get it wrong and you're not able to? I mean, we don't always get it right. We don't have to be perfect. We just need to be intentional, right? And our kids will always remember how we make them feel. So, as parents, we just need to keep learning about our children as they grow over time. So, as you go out this week, I want to challenge you to try one small gesture tailored to your child's current love language. Just observe them and watch as they light up as you show them your love. I'd like to say a very, very big thank you to you today, but I would love to hear how you're speaking to your child's love language this week. Thank you so much for listening. This is Family Dynamics with Bola.